Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to look at some new strands of Jesse James beads, and we're going to make something using some of these strands. So first of all, our encouraging word for today is escape the ordinary. So I felt like this was very fitting because Jesse James beads are very out of the ordinary. They are fancy and different and unique and definitely not ordinary. So escape the ordinary. Okay, so the October Magical Mystery Bead Box did the Pantone colors. All of these, so this is Pantone 2021-2022 Fall and Winter. And the colors are Leprechaun, Root Beer, Fuchsia, Mykonos Blue, Pale Rosette, Illuminating, Spring Lake, Adobe, Rhodonite, and Firewood. And so in your Magical Mystery Bead Box for October, it had the little mini mixes with all these colors. So now they have come out with beautiful bead strands for the Pantone colors. And I am going to show you all of them. Okay. So first of all is Leprechaun. So let's take a look at the Leprechaun bead strand. One really fancy bead that jumps out at me in the middle here. Ooh, isn't it pretty? Very, very sparkly. And this had some bead caps on it, some large ones. And then I'm noticing these really pretty. They're not cloisonne beads, I don't think, but they're similar. Beautiful beads. Okay, so we've got those. We've got a couple crystals here. Some bicones and look like 12 millimeter maybe, or 10 millimeter. Some pretty, these look like maybe a gemstone, like an agate or a jade. We've got some really pretty sparkly crystals here as well. And some rondelles. So, and then we've got some wooden disc. And then a bunch of bead caps and some spacers. So this is the Leprechaun strand. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. If you like green, this one's, you're going to love it. So there's that one, root beer. So let's see what is on the root beer strand. So here we have silvers for the metals, mostly. I like how they mix metals. So, you know, you've got some silvers, but you've got some gold in here as well. It's a light gold, like a Casey gold. And then these beads have both on them. I'm going to have to move this because it's not wanting to focus with that on there. So there we go. Really, really pretty. So we've got several of these, you know, I call them fancy beads. I have them labeled fancy beads in my my craft room, but that's what Jesse James does. They do fancy beads. So there's those. And then again, we have a bunch of crystals here, rondelles. These are really pretty. These are matte and shiny. You can see that. Then we've got some matte rondelles, which are really cool. Okay, there they are. Beautiful. Fuchsia Fedora. That's this one. Okay. And honestly, I think fuchsia is hard to do and make it look not cheap and plasticky, if that makes sense. So they've done a good job here, I think. These are beautiful. These are very heavy metal, rhinestone metal beads, just beautiful. And then we've got some of these, I don't know what these are called. I call them popcorn. They look like little popcorn beads. So a couple of those. And then we've got the crystals. And again, it's really hard, I think, with fuchsia to make them not look cheap. And they've done a good job here. These are pretty. Okay, then we've got just some glass beads here. There's kind of a fancier bead there. Oh, I love these. I think these are so cool. These are like rhinestone, but they're rectangle rhinestones. They're pretty. Very, very pretty. Fuchsia's not necessarily my favorite color, but if you love fuchsia or hot pink, you're gonna like that one. Then we've got Mykonos Blue. And one of my subscribers told me that Mykonos is a Greek island. So this is named after the blue in the waters around that island. So I think I would like to see that. That sounds beautiful. Okay, so we've got some of our fancy beads again. 2 different kinds. And we've got some filigree metal. These are really pretty. How beautiful. We've got some crystals. Okay. We've got some cracked glass. This is really pretty too. I love this color. Very pretty. Next is pale rosette. Here we go. Let me get this out. All right, so this bead is just absolutely, it's beautiful. Look at that. This is pieces of like, I don't know if it's shell. It looks like shell. Oh, this is so, so pretty. Wow. So that bead, and then I love these rose beads, these metal rosette beads. I think they're so, so pretty. I love the shades in these. These are kind of like peachy pink. It's just beautiful. So here we have crystals again. Okay, different sizes and colors of rondelles. How sparkly and pretty. Then we've got a couple pearls on this strand. We have some large hole, again, these look like a gemstone. I don't know if they could be agate maybe. Maybe they are just glass, but they look like something. They look like rose quartz. I bet they are rose quartz. That's what they look like. And then these really pretty large hole rondelles. They're beautiful. Look at that. All right, so this is the pale rosette. And I have to say, I think this is my favorite one. I just think it's very classy and beautiful. Okay. So here's our illuminating strand. And this one, we've got a couple of the fancy beads here. Really pretty. We have a couple large hole beads. Really pretty crystals, beautiful crystals. Look at that. Those would even go with the fuchsia strand, I think. So pretty. Some cracked glass, a couple of crystal rondelles, some cubes, silver cubes. And then these, look at these. These are absolutely cute. Look how cute they are with these little flowers on there. Those are adorable. Metal beads. Okay, there it is. Beautiful. All right, Spring Lake, a very pretty blue. So we have 3 of these really big fancy beads. The bead caps are attached on these, as you can see. We've got some Murano glass here. Look how pretty. Beautiful Murano glass. A couple large hole ceramic beads. Some crystals. Little sparkly ones and bigger matte ones. And some more, a couple more of the smaller beads. Fancy beads. And that's your Spring Lake strand. Beautiful. Okay. So Adobe has some really pretty rhinestone beads. Look at that. We've got some crystals here, some rondelles in a brown, and these are different. These are kind of matte on the side there, and then sparkly on the edges. And they're drilled this way. So those are really cool beads. Okay. We have this rectangle crystal. We have some filigree, metal filigree, and this strand is using copper in the metals. Some large hole ceramic metallic beads. This is the Adobe strand. Okay, two more. We've got Rhodonite, and I had a couple people ask why this is named Rhodonite because it's blue, and I don't know. But I know Rhodonite and rhodochrosite both have some black in them, but I don't know, but it's beautiful. And this bead right here, oh my goodness. Look at that. It is beautiful. It's got these like pointed chatons all over it, just randomly. It's just stunning. And it's got the silver with the gold bead caps again, and mixing the metals, which I love. Here are the fancy beads. Here are some large flat crystals. And we've got some large, these are rondelles, sparkly, beautiful. Here are some smaller rondelles. Look at the sparkle. Wow. Couple of pearls. And here's our little spacers for the ends of the strand. And then we've got some metal beads here. These are really cool looking. So really, really pretty strand of rhodonite, or what was this one? Yeah, rhodonite. Beautiful. And last but not least, we have Firewood. Okay. Firewood has a really cute little elephant in the middle. Look at that. I think it's polymer clay. Feels like it. And then we have a couple of the fancy beads. Okay, we've got some crystals. Beautiful. We've got these really, really super cool bead caps, okay, which are like double-sided with some, I don't know what those, they're just like, oh gosh, I can't think of the word. Rhinestones. Goodness, rhinestones in there. It's early. Aren't they cool? They're so cool. A couple of teardrop crystals. Now these are not bracelet drilled. They're drilled down the middle, which I love. Really pretty strand. So this is what we're going to be using. So these are Thunder Polish cubes. Jesse James sells these. I will have links for everything in the description box below the video, and they are affiliate links, just so you know. But these are Thunder Polish glass crystals, 4mm cubes. Okay, and that's these. And I'm not sure how many we're going to use. You get a bunch on a strand. It's a huge strand. Let me see if it tells. 50 pieces. So you get plenty of them. But we're going to be using some of those. And like I said, I'm not sure how many because I'll have to measure everything, you know, as we go along. Okay, so these are the beads that I'm using. So from the Mykonos Blue, I'm using this big, I loved this big sparkly bead. These are from the Spring Lake collection, and so are these. These are from the Mykonos Blue. And all these down here, I believe, are from the Mykonos Blue as well, except for these two tiny guys, and they were from the Spring Lake, okay? Now, these right here, these two bead caps and these daisy spacers, came from the Pale Rosette set. So I'm mixing a lot of metals in here. I love to mix the bronze, the bright gold, and the silver. And the silver spacers came from either the Mykonos Blue or the Spring Lake. I'm not sure which one. And then I have a couple of these bronze bead caps, and they came from the Mykonos Blue set, I believe. Okay, I think. Yeah, I should have kept better track of that as I was pulling things out, but I didn't. So I've got some jump rings here, some little, these are 6mm, 5 or 6mm jump rings, and a toggle bar. Okay, you can use any toggle bar, but the important thing is that it has to fit through here, and I won't really be able to tell until I get on my beads on if this one will work. I think it will, and we'll see, you know, in the end. If it doesn't, I'll pull out another one. It can be any toggle bar. So we're doing 4 strands. Now, this middle strand here, or the 1, 2, 3, yeah, it's the 3rd strand that I'm doing out of the 4. This is Chain Olympic in antique brass, okay? So this is on Jesse James' site, and then this chain that I'm using is the Chain Donut in bright gold plate, okay? So you can get these on Jesse James' website. If, you know, you can use whatever chain you have if you have a chunky chain, but if you want these specific ones, they're on the website. I have got 4 ball head pins. I've got 6 wire guards in an antique brass. I have 6 2x2 crimp tubes, okay? And you may need some jump rings. And then this tiger tail right here is the tiger tail that these bead strands came on, okay? So I'm going to use it for this. Why not? So this is the tiger tail that all of these bead strands came on. And Jesse, so, you know, there's a bonus. If you buy the bead strands, you get the tiger tail too. And you can use that for smaller things. My wrist isn't really big, so a small bracelet, you know, I can use those. Now, they do sell tiger tail, so if you want to buy it on there, go right ahead. And then I've got some little beads for the dangle on the end. If I do that, I'm not sure. I may, but these are just a couple of the thunder polished cubes. This bead right here came out of the, I believe, it came out of the root beer set. This one did. So I've pulled beads from different ones, but mainly they're all from the Spring Lake and the Mykonos Blue sets. Mykonos Blue, Spring Lake, and a couple maybe out of the Rhodonite. Get your stuff together and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so this middle chain right here it's very important. See, this is going to hook onto this with a jump ring. And then this one is going to hook on to my toggles. But all these other strands, these other 3 strands, are going to hook onto this ring right here. Originally, I was going to use this ring and hook it around on both ends, but this is too thick, I think. So this is a thinner ring, and it will work better with my wire guards and crimping and stuff. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to string up this big strand right here. Okay, so what it's going to have to do is it's going to have to hook on to this strand right here. So let me scoot this one up, and let's scoot this one up. And this is going to be adjustable. This is the nice thing about using this chain right here. So this toggle bar will be able to, it'll be able to clasp here, here, or here. So this will be an adjustable toggle. I'm not using the toggle ring for that reason. I want to use this, and that way I've got 3 different places that I can put this toggle bar on if I want to, or if somebody, you know, with a bigger wrist wants this or whatever. You know, so that is really cool, I think. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we are going to take we're going to put on our crimp bead. We're going to put on a wire guardian. We're taking our wire through our wire guardian, up and around. So just like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this right onto the ring that I'm going to use. So I don't really want that much. There we go. Okay, so here's what I've got. I've got my crimp bead on. I have my wire going through around my wire guardian, and I'm going to hook it right here, just like this, okay? Then I'm going to put my crimp bead back up through the second strand. So here's what I've got. I've got my wire guardian, and I've got my crimp bead with my 2 strands here. And I'm just going to crimp this. So the way that I like to do it is I take my crimping pliers. I like to bend the wire guardian in. So I just take my crimping pliers and I'm just going to bend him in a little. I just think it looks a little bit better. I don't know. It's just my thing. And then I'm going to scoot this crimp bead up. Now, if you can tell here, my 2 wires are not crossed. Okay? That's important. You want them to be sitting side by side if they can be. I'm going to take my crimping pliers and lay that crimp tube in the back channel there. Okay? Still holding my wires so they're not crossing. And I'm just going to crimp this down. And when I do that, it puts each wire in its own little channel here. Okay? Now I'm going to turn this sideways, put them here in the pliers, and I'm going to close the crimp up. Okay, so there we have it. We've got our little crimp. Tug on it, it's tight. Okay, so that is going to be this strand, this first strand, or this second strand. And the reason I'm doing it first is because it's the biggest, it's got the biggest beads on it, and I want to make sure that I have enough room to fit everything. I just like to do this one first for some reason, the bigger strand first. So now I'm going to string on everything. I'm going to put on my bead cap. I've got this beautiful Murano glass bead. And I might need a couple more of those bead caps. I think I do. Alright, and I'm just going to string this whole strand up. Now the good thing with doing this adjustable type situation on the end here is that, and that's bent a little bit, let me straighten that out, is that you can kind of be a little bit more loose with your measurement in the middle. And this is getting stuck inside this bead. There we go. So I'm going to string up this biggest strand first, and then I can kind of measure everything else by it, but I'll have the adjustable toggle so I don't have to be too precise, you know, with my measurement. I don't have to make sure that this is a certain amount, if that makes sense. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not coming out very well, but that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just stringing these on real quick. Let's do this one. Our Murano glass bead. And this last bead cap. Okay. So this is my middle, this is my biggest strand right here. And it needs to hook onto this chain on the other end. Now you want to make sure everything's laying flat. That's very important. Make sure everything's laying flat. And he needs to hook right here, and I think that's going to work out just fine. So by the time I get my wire guardian and my crimp and everything on, it's going to be pretty much the perfect length here. See, I've laid it out, I'm looking at it, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is same thing as before. I'm going to take my crimp, put it on here, and then my wire guardian. This tiger tail's a little frayed on the end. Let me trim that off because that's going to be really hard to get through there. There we go. That'll work. And then I'm just going to put my wire guardian on. Up, over, and around. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that everything's laying flat here. And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to insert it right in, just like I did on the other one. I am going to put my crimp bead back through. And I'm going to pull everything tight. Actually, I'm not going to go through that bead cap. I was, but that's going to be really difficult to get it tight. Okay, so I'm pulling it all tight. Now I'm just trying to see here if I do need to add a couple more beads onto this middle strand. And I don't think I do. I think it is going to be just fine. So I am going to make sure this is pulled up tight. I'm going to try to make sure that my wires are not crossed. It's a little harder to do on this end. And I've got my first strand hooked on to my chain here. Okay, and as you can see how that lays like that. Okay, and these are flat and everything's where it should be. So now I want to do my my cube strand out here. So I may have to add some more cubes on because it's got to kind of reach around this one, if that makes sense. I think I may do this one first though. I'm going to do this one first. So we'll do this one together and then we'll see. I may let you guys do, I don't want to make this video too long. It's going to be really long. Okay, so let's put our crimp on. Go ahead and insert the wire guardian. We're just doing this the same as we did that other row. Okay, now I'm going to string on this string. So here's what I've got right now. I have my first strand and my middle strand, and I just want to make sure that these are laying flat. That's what's important. This has to be, you don't want anything crossed over here. So as you can see, I have these laying, I'm just making sure that they're laying flat here and like nothing's twisted or crossed. That's important because then you want when you do it when you finish it, you want it to all kind of lay right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and string some beads on. So I think I'll do that guy first because he's fairly small. I may need some more beads for this, which I could throw some of these in, or I could just pick out some more. Here's some silver ones, these silver end ones. I like to use them if I can because it's kind of nice to have them there. Extra beads. Okay, now we'll put these in here. I'm going to put that one on there. Let's do a spacer. This guy. This one. And this one. And I think that that is not going to be, no, I'm going to have to add some more beads. Yeah, definitely going to have to add some more beads. So let's go here to the middle so we don't have to unstring the whole thing. And you can see how you just kind of have to adjust, you know, when you're doing this, you just kind of have to adjust your number of beads to make everything match. It's just kind of trial and error sometimes when you're making these multi-strand bracelets. Okay, let's see if that should probably be pretty close. Yes, it is. Okay, so by the time I put my crimp and everything on, it's going to be right up to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crimp this end, then I'm going to do my cubes out here the same way that I've been doing everything, just making sure everything's laid flat, measuring, and putting them on and making sure everything fits. Same thing. So go ahead and do your other two strands and then come right on back. Okay, so I've got all my strands hooked on, and all I've done is made sure that they're all laying, you know, in the right position here, that nothing's crisscrossed and everything is together like it should be. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, and it took me 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 30 cubes to do my outer strand there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to take this jump ring that I had laying out here. There it is. And this is a tiny jump ring. I don't want to use a big one for this. I like the little ones. And I'm just going to hook this right onto the end of this chain right here. So I'm just hooking these two chains together. And the cool thing about this chain is it has a hole right there that you can just hook this other one right onto it, if you can get it on there right, that is, and not do what I just did. Okay, let me make sure these are laying right again. Everybody's where they should be. They are. Okay. That is a thick little jump ring, and that's why it's kind of difficult to get on there, but I want to use a thick one so it'll be secure. Get it back on there. Okay. And I may need to go with a little bit bigger of a jump ring, which I can do, but I try to get it on with this one. It's just a thick one. It's kind of hard to maneuver with these tiny little. I don't have a lot of room here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Yes, it would have been easier to use a bigger jump ring, but I got this. And I do like because it's very thick. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that was a little difficult, but that's a thick jump ring, and I want that on there. That'll be very secure. Okay, so here's what we've got. Now, what I've got to figure out, see, when I put this on, I can hook it through any of the rings on my chain over here if this toggle bar will fit, and I need to make sure that it will. So I'm just going to take these jump rings, I'm going to hook them together. I'm going to do about, I don't know, probably 3 to start, and then if I need to add more I can. But what you need is you need this to be smaller than that. It's got to be able to fit through there when you put your toggle bar on. So I'm going to start with 3 of these little jump rings. I'm going to close them up, and then I'm going to put the toggle bar on and see if it will go through without having to add another jump ring. And I could always take one off if I needed to. Okay, so now if I could put this through here, it does. It fits through just fine. See? And I can clasp it in that one, or I can clasp it in the middle or the bottom one. So actually, I think what I might do is take one jump ring off of here. Let me do that. Let me take one jump ring off, and then it will clasp in this second one pretty well, I think, for me. And you just have to make it, adjust it to how it'll work for you. And now it goes in the second one, and will be a little bit, just a tad bit tighter. But yes, I do have trouble getting these on. And you could even, if you wanted to have more variety over here for the adjustable toggle, you could only use the large rings on this chain. You could take the small ones off and reconnect it with just the large ones. So there we go. And so there you have your little multi-strand bracelet here. That's a little bit better fit for me. I could actually even take one more out, one more jump ring off, and I think it would still work. But like I said, you kind of have to measure that for yourself. Okay, so here it is. It turned out really cute. I am going to put a couple dangles here on the bottom. To do that, I'm just going to take my little head pins, and I'm going to create a little dangle here. I'm going to do a wrapped loop. I'm just going to bend this 90 degrees, get my chain nose pliers, or my round nose pliers, come up and over and around, and wrap this. Cut it off. And then I'm going to do these 3 the same way, I think. Will this go? This Yeah, actually it does. I was a little worried that my ball head pin was going to come through that one because it's kind of a larger hole. Up and over and around. Wrap. The ball head pin may come through this one. Nope, it stays too. I'm surprised. The holes in those looked kind of big. I was afraid it wasn't going to stay. Up and over. Okay, go ahead and trim this one off. And you need to tuck them. If you've got any snags sticking out, just tuck them in. And I'm going to do one more little cube here. Oops. There we go. Go ahead and wrap it up. And then I'm just going to take a jump ring and hook it right on here. I'm just going to take this bigger jump ring right here. Just going to hook it right on here on the end. And I'm going to put these right on it. So I'm going to do, I think, a blue one, then the gold, then another blue. I just want to stagger the two blues. I just didn't want them to be right beside each other, the two cubes. This one on and this one. Close that right up. And there we have a really cute little dangle on the end. So here is our bracelet. I love these multi-strand ones. I think they turn out so pretty. And it looks just, I mean, it looks like you have 4 bracelets on, you know, stacked. So love them. I think they're gorgeous. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will have links for everything. Again, all the chain, all of the beads. These Pantone strands are just absolutely gorgeous. How much fun. You know, they're just a lot of fun to work with. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.